When I was in high school, I was seen as so naughty that I wasn't allowed in classrooms ever again. I got put in permanent isolation. So every day that I would come into school, I had to sit outside the head teacher's office. I wasn't allowed lunch at the same time as other kids. My lunch would be brought to me. And I wasn't allowed in the playground with the other kids. I had to wait until all kids were in lessons and then I could go for like a walk around the playground for half an hour. This is why. It was a combination of things. Part of it was my ADHD. I wasn't diagnosed until I was an adult. Part of it was I wasn't the brightest in school and I was very aware of that, so I would mess around. I tried to be the class clown because I knew I wasn't the bright one, so I needed a thing. I wasn't the smart one, I wasn't the pretty one, so I wanted to be the funny one. I'd also stopped living with my mum at this point. School knew I was sofa surfing and they were desperately trying to get me into foster care, but they hadn't yet been successful. When I stopped living with my mum, I didn't have my school uniform. And even though I was sofa surfing, I still wanted to go to school. I still wanted to try and learn and try to make something of myself, but because I didn't have my uniform, I used to have to come into school in like mufti day. Every day was mufti day. And the head teacher didn't want me in the classroom with other pupils. One, because I'd be in my own uniform and he didn't want people to question why I was allowed but they weren't allowed. Two, my younger sister was in that school at the same time and the head teacher thought it would be awkward that we're no longer living together because of our mother, but we still have to see each other every day. And also, I've said it a few times before, if your home life is a mess, your school life is going to become a mess. The final straw was lighting a cigarette in maths class. That was the final straw for them. I'm not proud of it. I was trying to be funny, it backfired. This permanent isolation lasted for 6 weeks. It lasted until I dropped out of school. And it got to the point, because I was always in my school uniform, the head teacher, so what started as me always sitting outside his office doing my work, he then made me move to the medical room. Because I was always wearing my own clothes, and because he would constantly have parents coming into the school, guests coming into the school, going into his office, he didn't want anyone to see that me, this student, was just allowed to sit there in my own clothes. So he started telling me to sit in the medical room. I would just sit in the medical room all day, or until I'd have enough and jump over the school gate. We had a school field and there was a tree that was so easy to climb up and you could just jump over the school gates. I did that a lot. I would later find out from one of my teachers told me this. This teacher found me on Facebook to tell me this, that she at one point, while I wasn't living with my mum but still going to school, she actually asked social services if she could take me in. She asked social services if I could live with her. They said no because it would be inappropriate, but sleeping on buses was appropriate. I did actually message that teacher a couple of years ago because I know she was always rooting for me. She always had my back, and I actually messaged her on Facebook just to say I'm okay now. Life is good, I'm happy, you know, everything is all good. And she told me that she was really proud, she was really happy, she always wondered how I turned out. And yeah, she repeated that she'd wanted me to live with her. She was very strict though. She would have kept me in line. Permanent isolation.